And we should be live. How's it going, everybody? Francois Pyro, what's happening? Thanks for joining me in this hobby session. I'm just gonna pluck away at these command squad veteran dudes. I'll probably do some weapon casings and some accessories and take another stab at the Volkite. I found my red Blood Angels contrast here, so I'll try working with a little bit of that over some white ink and see where that leads me. But I want to start with those weapon casings. I think they'll really make a difference. So what are you guys working on? What is on your hobby desk? The age-old question. Actually, you know what? Oh, never mind. I was gonna think of doing the glow first, but I think it makes more sense to do the weapon casings first. Right, you gotta make the weapon casing material. You gotta set that in place, and then the glow should come after, so that it tints appropriately. At least that's my thoughts on the matter. Alfarius, welcome to the Cool Guy Club. You made it, and you're on time. Very much appreciated. What's on your hobby desk, or are you just hanging out? I need to pull up some Volkite reference here. Gotta paint with reference, you know? Alfarius got to strip the paint of a bunch of models before I can start painting them, and it's so slow. Oh, what are you using to strip? There's so many options. While Pyro's doing some video gammon, that's totally allowed. It is permissible behavior. You don't have to hobby in the hobby hang stream. But the company and camaraderie is still appreciated. Gonna have to go back in with some metal colors and hit these little notches and nodules. There's a lot of details on this Volkite. Pistol of Volkite. That subtle blue should actually help the red pop a bit more, I think. A good old contrast, you know? Hey, Misfit, how's it going? How's it going? Minis are looking good, handy. Well, if you think the miniatures are looking good, awesome. Awesome. That's the goal, right? Get them looking good. We're just filling in some color on the weapon casings. Very important. Should not be forgotten. Unlike you don't wanna be like Space Marine 2 and forget about your weapon casing customization. That would be a shame. I mixed up whose stream I came into. Ruffle, yeah. It's okay, look. No offense taken, alright? It's the thought that counts. Fairy says, at what the 40k? Let me be able to make my power sword a Xenophase blade. It would be so cool. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that would be ideal. Probably a skin. Probably a premium cosmetic if I were to guess pessimistically. But that would be very cool for that Deathwatch vibe. I think... Personally, I think, and maybe this could be a video or something, I don't know, but I think that game's PvE should have been Deathwatch. I think it shouldn't have been framed as Ultramarines helping Titus. I think it should have been framed as his Deathwatch pals coming to his aid, thus better cementing like a kind of narrative harmony with how players like to customize their guys. I think that would have been smarter. And then you don't have weird voice lines like you're walking around the guardsmen and the guardsmen are saying, "Oh, it's the Ultramarines." And it's like, "Oh yeah, cool. That's exactly what I want to hear when I'm dressed up as my own guy." It's, you know, it's little stuff, but I think it's just a design decision that would cost the same amount of effort, probably. And it has yielded a worse result for it not being the case. Wouldn't change, you know, such a change would not impact gameplay at all. It's just a pure narrative design choice that I think was fumbled. Francois says, "Yo, Alfarius, hey, did you hear the conspiracy theory that Robotger Gilliman is actually Alfarius. Oh my god. Don't encourage him, Francois. Don't. These Alpha Legion guys. They're so desperate. So desperate. Ferris says, I love how cool the Deathwatch armor looked and the animation with the Black Star. Oh, yeah, it was cool. All those assets are there. You should be deploying to PvE missions in a Corvus Black Star. I think it could have been much cooler. Alfarius faked his death and retired to run a farm, eh? Oh, I didn't know he was the farming type. Okay, that should be sufficient for this gun. It's looking pretty good. Just a dark blue is what I want. The green here is actually, I could use some work on this guy. Might do some circling back to the command squad. The command squad's gotta look real good, you know? Misfit says yes, all of his farm hands too. Oh. The idea is he killed Gilliman and took his identity, then sat in the stasis chamber for 10,000 years. Might be why there's been no Gilliman-Lion reunion yet. I am doubtful, though it is a fun theory. Very fun theory. Yeah, the characterization of Gilliman that we've gotten so far seems too authentic for it to be plausible, and I don't think it's a design choice that I think would just upset fans. Kind of like you get those fan theories, right? Of you know what would be cool if Dorn came back, but he was traitor, right? You get all those sorts of ideas. Take a loyalist and turn traitor, take a traitor and flip him. And I think that's just a good way to upset the people you've asked to invest in those factions. So I'd be very doubtful. I think it'd be a poor choice, but a fun idea. It'd make for a fun, like, Elseworlds, like, spin-off or what-if type situation. But I could imagine how annoyed I'd be if, you collect the Salamander's army, and you pour all your effort into realizing them, waiting for your Primarch's return, and then he does, and then he's evil. Like, oh my god. What was this all for? What was it all for? Oh, it'd be terrible. Oh, I also did some green stuff on my sword guy, my lieutenant here, right? And while I had the green stuff out, I filled in those helmet holes that some of these guys had on their 3D printed heads. You can kind of see the green stuff is a different hue, and I'm wondering if all it'll take is a layer of paint to cover that up, or if it needs more green stuff to fill in the hole properly. We'll see. We shall see. Okay, let's try and not get too spun around. We're doing weapon casings. I guess this should also be weapon casing color. Oh no, that's like a leather or something, right? What a weird harness, or I don't know what to call that. Combination of straps. Very odd. They confirmed Alferis was the first one found in his own book. Ah. Oh, the first one. The first found in his own book is dead. Fair enough. Unless that's just Alpha Legion misinformation. That's the thing about Alpha Legion. It was their plan all along. They have that annoying plot device at their disposal, which you could make an argument that it's thematic, right? Frustratingly so. Let's get a bit of glazed medium going. I played a quick game of one-page rules today. Another 1,000 point battle against my buddy Melon. And I took the Wormhole Demons of Lust, also known as Slaanesh Demons at first spin. And they seem pretty good, pretty strong. the Infernal Harpist. I'm still learning that rule system, so I did not know what powers I was wielding. That Infernal Harpist is really good. It's like a basilisk. It's like crazy. A crazy artillery piece for just a... what is essentially an infantry model. Gonna have to try and remember to add some gold or bronze to these bullets. Or we'll make them brown, and maybe that'll help. Maybe this will serve as a reminder for future me. Yeah, look, the Stegodon scale mixed with black bolt gun casings make a huge difference. It's crazy. Way more interesting. It's subtle. Well, is it subtle? Is it subtle if I claim it makes a huge difference? Maybe not. I guess my point is I wouldn't underrate the impact it could have. Just a subtle change. Alfarius says, yippee, we get to hurt Admiral the 40K's head next time he reads through chat. Oh yeah, if you guys are having an in-depth conversation about Primarch mess-arounds, who was found first, who's still alive, I'm not going to read through all of that. But I'm happy to see, there's a community, a little community we have here, just chatting away. That's fun. I welcome it. Oh, these are supposed to be metal also. Crap. It never ends. It never ends. Chat engagement helps the algo? Yes. Yes, it does. It's the, that's what I hear anyways. So why not? You know? Bantering in chat's always a fun time. Something about Primarchs that always gets people going, right? I like to think those types of players all have like a complex. Myself included, by the way. It's like a my dad can beat up your dad kind of complex. I find it rather humorous. That might be too bright. I'll be listening to the background while playing Metal Gear 3, Machine Gun 3. Pyro, is that the HD remaster, or is it Metal Gear 3 Delta? That's not what you're playing. That's not out yet, right? Oh, Omni/Studio just subscribed. Nice! That is very much appreciated. Look at the Streamlabs widgets working. So I said I'm doing weapon casings, but I'm just going with the flow, okay? We're just moving around to wherever the brush leads me. That's what it is. No. I blemished his green wrist cuff. How sad. What a tragedy. Yeah, I am much more pleased by how these weapons look now that they're slightly blue. Much better. Should be sufficient blending, and add a few edge highlights and should pop just fine. Let's see here. What is next? Maybe we should do those metallic bits and bops. I don't know. Let's circle back to our counts as Victrix guys. Pyro says no, Delta ain't out for it. NBA Card London. Just saw your message now. Welcome to the stream. Think about painting Lamenters. Any tips? I have a painting yellow video from way back when, which could be useful, but and an Imperial Fists Let's Paint, which I think turned out great. But I think contrast is the way to go these days for painting yellow, honestly. Even if you're not airbrushing it, just contrast, that new formula, that is something I think GW does get some credit for. Even a dry brush base, and then you put your yellow contrast over, get all your pre-shading in with the dry brush underneath still showing through. I think it's very efficient and very aesthetically pleasing. I like the grimdark appearance, but I like your ideas about wreckages. I can't exactly recall my thoughts on wreckages. You might have to do me a solid and remind me about that. But I'm glad you like them. So I think my ideas are pretty good. You're welcome, Card London, you're welcome. Okay, so let's evaluate. I think I'll definitely add more blue to this guy's Volkite. Maybe even both. Gotta pump that blue up. Alfaria says, I don't want to even try to paint those damn shoulder pads. Oh yeah, Lamentor's shoulder pads are a little infamous, but I think you can get real good at it real fast. Faster than you'd think. That's what I suspect anyways. Once you unlock that freehanding ability, and it's not, you know, still life painting or anything. Just a pattern. Just a grid. Starts with a grid, and then you fill in the checkers. It's doable. You'll just need to unlock that base level of brush control, I think. But after that, I think you can bang out those checkers and be the envy of everyone who wants to paint checkers. Everyone will look at your models and say, "Oh, damn, you painted all those checkers?" And you'll be like, "Yeah, no big deal. It's pretty easy, actually." And they'll be like, "Wow, get a load of this guy." That's looking a bit better. I think I should make the tip also bronze. I think that might look cool. I gotta make it glow red also. Jeez, it never ends. The ideas, you know, the ideas for adding more steps, making models more complicated than they have to be, as you do. Oh, I have a spare handle here. I should use that. I should be using that. Alfarius seems pretty upset. Oh, wow. Okay, well, that happened. He just jumped off his base. Crazy. And as a plus, I guess I can better center him on his base. That's annoying. It's annoying because it means I won't be able to paint him for a little bit. So we're gonna glue him to this one and set him aside because the other base has like loads of primer on it, and I don't want to be a subject to it. Okay, well, so much for my big-brained idea to expedite and make things easier to work with. Thought that would be an efficiency boosting choice. But look, what's the adage? What does Gandalf say? No journey is without peril, right? Okay then. Let's add some brown, some Stegodon. Oh no, this is Steel Legion Drab. Let's just put it on this hammerhead so we can get some gold on here. I agree with everything Francois is saying. That is the right approach. Well, that green has really dried up. Okay, let's get some gold. I am muted. Good God. How awkward. How long was I muted for? Jesus. Well, Alfarius, to answer your question, I kind of prefer a paradigm where your successor chapter is painted as your successor chapter, and the named characters from the parent chapter or legion are painted as if they belong to that legion, right? Like the idea of playing an Ultramarine successor chapter, like say the Nova Marines, right? I think, what's their scheme? White and dark blue quartered, something like that. And every time you want to put Gilliman on the table to fight alongside your Nova Marines, he's painted in the Ultramarines color scheme because he's an Ultramarines Primarch. He's not painted in my Nova Marines color scheme. Why would Gilliman paint himself in my color? Like, that's where my brain goes, right? And I just kind of find that to be the most tasteful to my preferences. I know it's a little out there, and there's an appeal to having all the models in your collection match. I get that 100%. This is totally a different strokes for different folks kind of thing here, right? But that my most favored preference is that. Like, I love that idea where Gilliman comes to aid my Nova Marines, and he's painted up in the Ultramarines color scheme, and his accompanying honor guard is also in the Ultramarines, because Gilliman's not going to come alone, obviously, right? Yeah, it's a little bit of an out there choice, but I just find it very thematically rich. Unfortunately, I don't have any factions or, you know, like World Eaters or Death Guard with like a where I could really demonstrate this principle and kind of push it, so to speak, push the idea or at least share the idea. I guess you could do it with the Salamanders and Firekeepers, but the Firekeepers scheme is too similar. It's not as obvious. I don't think it's the best example, if I'm being honest. Maybe with Bealtan, maybe with Eldar, I'm just so, like, not into getting characters that aren't, that aren't Bealtan. Like, I don't want to get Eldrad, necessarily. I guess it's like the Phoenix Lords, right? I paint my Phoenix Lords as if they're from their Aspect Shrine, not like they've repainted themselves to match my craft world. I guess that's maybe a good example of that way of painting or color coding your guys. Okay. Alfaro says at Mr. 40K, do I irresponsibly start Death Company because they look really fun? My strongest guy in Tacticus is Death Company. Oh, interesting. I never played Tacticus. I always see ads for it. But that being said, do you start Death Company? I don't know. Look, if you think you'd enjoy painting it, then do it. All right. If there's a thematic or narrative core, I think it's worth doing a project. If there's not, I've been disenfranchised from rules changes where I'm like I refuse to start projects and even buy units because the rules are good at the time. I can't. It annoys me. It's totally a personal thing probably, but for myself, I just get way too annoyed with when rules change, and I've kind of bought into something for rules. So to not let myself get into that situation, I've become more narrative because of that. More of a narrative guy myself. I don't think these guys had any other ghoul stuff, right? Right? Doesn't appear to be the case. We're gonna have to do a round robin of purity seals, so jeez. There's no doubt regarding the purity of this squad. You guys are creeping me out. Is Mr. What the 40K quiet for anyone else? I don't believe my audio levels are too low. I have a gain volume knob here. But look, if I turn it up too high, my little visualizer turns red when I speak, and that's probably means bad, right? So I'll have to keep it somewhere around here. That seems to be a pretty optimal sound level. You guys let me know. Sometimes, look, sometimes I'm not talking into the mic directly, which may be the result of the fluctuation in volume you're detecting. Probably is the case. Yeah, when I painted these swords, I should have painted these little fangs on these guys' shoulder pads. My ears, screams Alfarius. Alfarius says, I also recently learned that the Black Templars are Legion-sized. Yep, they are. They are taking advantage of the Crusade exemption in the Codex Astartes. And I think Guilliman would respect such a... the leveraging of such a loophole. No, Guilliman's proven himself to be just the best at making choices that are prudent. So I'd be very doubtful he would get upset and rock the boat, so to speak. Like, he knows, Guilliman seems wise enough, at least his characterization in the present, actually even in the Horus Heresy, he's just very satisfying for me, like whenever I read him in the Horus Heresy or in Dark Imperium. I just like seeing a Primarch make choices that are logical. And not just like hyper emotional, which I find annoying. Okay, let me get some bronze going. Woo Ultra Depression. Well, that's not good. We're gonna have to do something about that, Alfarius. How's it going, Clinch? Welcome to the stream. Kato Sicarius is the best Ultramarines character. You know, funnily enough, I haven't read any book with Kato Sicarius. Oh, you know what? He's in like one chapter in Dark Imperium, I think. But that's about it. That's about all I got. I just know him through memes. Which I take with a grain of salt, of course. Clinch says your voice is like ASMR to me. Thanks for those bits. Oh, jeez. I'm happy to hear you enjoy the videos. It's always appreciated. Okay, so what material next? Maybe let's do some glowing Volkite stuff. Let's return to that. Gotta think of the thumbnail, right? I want to have a good before and after. So let's get some white ink going and try that contrast out. Kato Sicarius is the best because of the memes, eh? Well, I suppose so. I don't know. I've become not black-pilled. That's too dramatic. I've fallen out of love with what memes do. I mean, part of me still loves them, but because they're funny. I just feel like memes seed false information. Often, I don't know. Maybe I've just been bad touched a few too many times, so to speak. Let's mix in a bit of Flow Improver. Just a drop. We're gonna mix the potions here. Bruno Markov, welcome. How's it going? Do you know what I want in a book? Malum Kado. Or apologies if I butchered the pronunciation. Get a bit of overspill, I think is okay. I think that's what I want for the white ink. Bruno Markov's doing good. Was grinding Space Marine 2. Awesome. Yep, I haven't played since last week. But I plan to. Definitely plan to. Need to get more of those yellow tickets. The Ruthless tickets for the weapon upgrades. Clinch said, I realized the Night Lord's Assault Marine has a Mark 10 helmet and my immersion is shattered. Is it really? That's a bummer. I wonder, like the Mark 10, like the Tacticus helmet, is similar to the Mark 4, but maybe they cheated, right? Maybe they just used the exact same helmet. Clinch says, unless that's a settled Chaos Primaris leak. Ugh, gross. No, Primaris is a dirty word, okay? Like, that's what GW should be retconning, right? You just come out with it. And I think everyone would be happier for it. It has those little earpieces over the ears. Yep, sounds like they cheated. They didn't want to make a Mark 4 helmet, so they used Mark 10. Yep. Night Lords are, you know, they have that salvaging and hobbling together different armor marks, mix and matching different pieces together. They have that thing going for them, so maybe we can spin, you know, do a little bit of spinning for GW, or Saber. Look at that. Okay, let's try this Blood Angels contrast. Now, if memory serves, I think I've already diluted this quite a bit. Whoa, what's going on here? Doesn't even look like it's diluted. Looks weird. Why is it defying gravity like that? Something is afoot. Seems way too thick. Let me get another bottle cap. Bruno says, hope we get more customization options soon. Yes, absolutely. It's hurting. It's hurting the journey a little bit. You know? I like to be able to customize my guys almost as if I were painting them. You know, at least to the level of something like Imp Cat or something. Seems reasonable. Okay, let's try this. Maybe it's too strong and I'll immediately regret it. Yep, feels that way. Maybe I can pull a little bit of this away though. The plan generally is to use the glowing islands as workflow here. So I was planning to do a third process, just mixing a little bit of red with the leftover ink to really bump up those hot spots. But actually, after pulling away the excess, it seems like that workflow is fine. Definitely want to get the glaze on the weapon casing, though. I think that helps sell the effect. Alferis's Firstborn. Gober. Yep. I adore those classic Firstborn Marines. And that's something I would love for Space Marine to incorporate. Get some Firstborn armor marks. I don't care if they're the same size as Primaris. They should. They should be. In my opinion, they should be. That's what I mean when I say Primaris was a mistake. You can still have Call do his stupid secret project, right? But it just had, all you needed was an improved armor mark, right? Like, the reality of just building legions worth of, you know, the Ultima founding in secret is already a big enough mix-up. The Marines don't have to be better, you know what I mean? Because that's the only part of the Primaris that I think is, like, distasteful, really. It's just the saying that, no, these new ones are way better than what you have. One is more offensive than the other. Favorite armor mark, asks Clinch. That's an excellent question. Favorite armor mark. Heresy armor, Mark 5. Hell yeah, that's what I like. Give me all those bolts, all those studs. I also just like the helmet for Heresy armor. But I suspect GW's gonna skip Mark 5, ironically, the Heresy armor, for their Horus Heresy game. The Age of Darkness was Mark 6, and they did Mark 3 in plastic for that 2nd edition starter box, right? So for their 3rd edition, rumored to be sometime next year, I don't think it'll be 5. If it is, that's pretty cool. I might be tempted even. Oh god, that's way too much. No, it's too potent. You can't pull it out of there. That's crazy. Okay, we'll have to correct. That's all that means. Yeah, just a little bit of pink. I think it's working. That side looks much better. Yeah, Mark 5 should be the most... I mean, it's called Heresy armor. Come on. Right? It's kind of crazy to me. Yeah, I feel like they did Mark 6 purely as a nostalgia bait. I think it does help the new edition feel new. Does feel fresh, not just seeing a better version of what you already have. It's probably actually a smart choice, right? Because you're modifying the scale a little bit from the Forge World resin, so you probably don't want to. You don't want to upset your player base, right? Why would you want to do that? Pyro says that was some fancy painting you did there. You're pretty good. Hey, I like that Metal Gear reference, Pyro. Much appreciated. I will have to do the same for the other side, and I'm running out of my red contrast blend. What is a boy to do? I feel like this brush has lost its... it's no longer in that peak performance phase. It is now on its way to becoming a workhorse, which is sad. It's always a sad moment in a brush's life. I mean, I guess we could really push it with just pure white ink, even smaller. Maybe that's crazy. Maybe that's what they call crazy talk. That's way too dark. Let's Alright, that'll do. Let's paint some purity seals, I guess. Which will start with some Steel Legion Drab, already on the palette. Oh, maybe they should have gray purity seals, like that cleaner kind of look, because these are tip-top commanders, right? This is the command squad we're talking about. So they shouldn't have those rank and file purity seals. They get only the finest quality paper. Oh, and searching for Lamenter's Death Company. You found some baller art. Very cool. I feel like the Lamenters shouldn't have the Black Rage. They should have the Black Sad, and they should have, like, blue teardrops under their eyes instead of red crosses on their armor. Because it's out of character for them to be angry. Hell yeah, Ape Escape. Yo, Ape Escape has such a good soundtrack. My goodness. We have any other Ape Escape fans in chat? You know, I think in maybe not the original Metal Gear Solid 3, but in the the expanded version, Subsistence, I think there was a minigame where Snake would go on Ape Escape adventures, and it was a pretty wild crossover, honestly. Snake versus Monkey, I think it was called. That's a fun gaming fact of the day. Oh, Jesus. Black sad, they just become really sad and refuse to fight. Yeah, they always fight last. That's their rule. It's better to forgive than to fight. Okay. Gotta give him that gray paper. Is Alfarius and Francois having a paint off? Is that what the wall of text I skipped would have revealed? If so, that's some pretty cool community interaction. Should probably do more painting, hobby-related sorts of things on the server. Pretty sure that's a thing in most Discord communities. Oh no. The bronze is a bit goopy. I shouldn't have tried to do this. This is a problem. I have to wash it out, I think. In my desperation, I tried to use paint that was metallic paint that was on its way out. It's too thick. Yeah, and that's more of the behavior you'd want. I think a little heavy, a bit of Nuln Oil in there, and it'll look just fine. You know, one of the... Not a gameplay problem in Space Marine 2. Or a equipment problem. I kind of... Like, there's so many variations of bolt guns. But I feel like... No combi option? You have all these other... awkward in-between variants of bolt rifle and heavy bolt rifle and marksman carbine and instigator carbine, and it's like okay, I get it, but why not have a weapon, a bolt gun weapon that actually offers different functionality? They have so many different types of bolt guns for just different firing rates and power, like variations. I think it'd be cool if they had a combi weapon. Rules are tabletop standard, no Golden Demon sculpting, and no 3D printing. Loser does a 2K army. I'll do Raptors, Alferis will do Lamenters. Hey, those are both choice picks for successor chapters, okay? I think you're both winners. Okay, let's see here. Where is the Darksea Grey? I can't seem to find it. That is really annoying. Oh well. Guess we'll have another choice but to mix our way to a lighter gray. Francois says both winners. No, Alferis is going down. Well, best of luck to you both. Bruno says, wish we had more options for customization. My Firehawks look meh without flame decals. Yep. I can appreciate that. When you say, but with how it looks, that they will do DLC, we're only going to get options for a particular chapter if they do have them on their design. Interesting. Yep, that seems appropriate. I think you'll get you'll probably get a flame decal option, most likely through a Salamander's kind of chapter pack or something. And it's probably your best bet. I kind of just want the basic fundamentals to be in place more than anything. The ability to paint the parts of your model, that's a big one. Another great point that someone commented on that video I made was, and I noticed it, but I forgot when I was writing the script, the Bulwark banner needs to not be Ultramarines, because it's so awkward. It's so awkward for every other chapter. And they could have just made a generic Imperium flag. It's not that hard. Just change the texture. So it just seems like they wanted to shortcut. Shortcut, one less asset to do, right? Because the Ultramarines banner is used in the campaign when you're playing co-op. Because there's a... No, is there a Bulwark guy campaign? There isn't. I don't think. No. So, never mind. But I think it is an asset he used in the campaign. During a particular set piece, I think. Generic banner that uses your armor's primary color and your shoulder emblem would have been so convenient. Yep, you know what? That's an excellent way to do it. Styrodot. I wholly agree. That's how you say that word. How else do you pronounce WH? I'm gonna have to do something about these scale cloths too. Well, you gotta go, Pyro. Well, thanks for tuning in and have a good evening. I'll catch you in the next one. Go for it, painting. Hello to you too. Thanks for tuning in. Look, we lost one, but we got another one. So, no morale checks needed, guys. No need to worry. Let's just put a bit of Nuln Oil in here and let that cook. Any Night Lords players gonna make us take a battle shock? I'd hope not. The implications of what would cause such a battle shock. Alfarius. I would hope not. Oh god. just ruined everything. Completely ruined it. I think I'll break up the yellow knee pads, or the white knee pads rather, on these guys with a little bit of color, maybe in a kind of design like a cut where half the knee pad's one color and the other half is white, maybe. That's a way to add a bit of visual interest on the guys with plain right knee pads. And maybe that can be a way to signify which companies rather those Battle Brothers originated from. I like the idea of the command squad, you know, being pulled from various members of the chapter. That's pretty cool. Go for Painting says, have a great paint job. Well, thanks for tuning in. Alfaris says, Mr. 40k, Zinch made me roll 2 1s for Battle Shock. I'm gonna need you to spend a command point for Insane Bravery. Yeah. Oh, that's a huge request, Alfarius. I mean, that's a once per game stratagem. One does not simply use Insane Bravery. It's far too valuable. Yeah, we are missing one purity seal. The one over this guy's lockbox. Oh, and you know what? I think there's one wrapping around our heavy bolter guy's leg. I recall that being a thing. Though it is mostly obscured, so I wonder if I can ignore it. I'll mix a bit of pink for the purity seals. This might be insufficient. Well, Ferris says I need to use guerrilla tactics at the end of my phase so I can get off the board into reserves. Jeez. You'll have to deal with it, Alfarius. You'll have to deal with it. Okay. Not really looking for full coverage here, just enough coverage and brightness to just undertone a Volupus pink contrast, and I think that'll be sufficient for purity seals. You know, they're just accenting pieces, right? They're not exactly where I want to draw all attention, or even much. Whoops. Maybe one of these cables should be hazardous. That's such awkward phrasing. Maybe it should have hazard stripes, is what I mean. What does chat think about that, right? Maybe this smaller cable should be like a yellow hazard stripe cable. I was originally thinking of just black and red for those two cables. Just keep it simple. some Seraphim Sepia onto the gold. Let's try that. Just onto the recesses, ideally. Just to give a bit of variation. Maybe I should try darker brown. That's a bit more obvious. Alfarius asks if all my heavy bolts should take a hazardous test. No. I just like the hazard stripe aesthetic. Very eye-catching. Excellently leveraged by Iron Warriors players. So I think finally we're going to be getting our hands on Kill Team. I'm very curious. Very curious to give it a whirl and see the extent of the, like the scope of what you're allowed to play with. I thought it was so cool in Kill Team 1 when you could have a roster of, permittable models of various loadouts and armor marks and all that sort of thing that you could draft into your games as you wanted. I don't think that's the case. I have a feeling that. Sorry. And this probably lines up with GW's just current modus operandi. But I suspect, and this might have already been confirmed, but that Kill Team would be only you can only play with the Kill Team specified kits, right? Your Kroot Farstalkers, right? Your Orc Commandos, etc. And if that's the case, well, that's certainly less fun, in my opinion. I like being able to deploy a group of Firekeepers specialists, So I hope there's some interesting options for all factions. Ferry says we finally get the Night Lord's Kill Team again. Yes, indeed. Finally, it's available for purchase, right? These guys have any spots to clean up? Just a little bit. Alfaria says that would suck. I want to have cool lads, not chapter specified ones. Yeah, I am with you. Also, I don't know if, well, I was going to say I don't know if you can buy all of those original Kill Team kits, but I think they're technically available in different forms, but you probably get some repackaging going if that's the route they go. They have to at least make it purchasable now. Okay, so I don't want to do any writing on the purity seals yet. And I don't know, frankly, I don't know if this brush is up to task. We'll have to see. To get some more off-white. Already, like, coming up on 2 hours. chapter badge tusk there that I added in green stuff is a bit large on this guy. But maybe that's okay. Maybe it's like a handcrafted sort of thing. Uh-oh. We gotta scoop that eye. Oh, I think it's ruined. Welcome, Nick. Nick Osalame. Apologies if the pronunciation is terrible. Oh, welcome to the stream. This is where the hobbying gets done. I need some more black paint. Okay, so let's try and clean this up a bit. Need to wait for it to dry anyways for another coat. Styrodot says, just imagine a Space Marine art class where they're all learning how to draw, paint, / forge the chapter symbol. Yeah, some chapters might require it, right? Other chapters might just have the servitors do it. Or the forge adepts, or, you know, your admech support. At what the 40k says, can we get some Firekeeper's lore while you paint? Oh, I guess so. That is something to talk about. Let me think. A lot of the Firekeeper's lore is, sort of grounded in... all the thematic stuff is grounded off of Monster Hunter. Alright, so in a Force Org sort of way, I liked the idea of each chapter, each company adhering to or paying homage or aligning themselves to a particular Monster Hunter monster, right? Sort of as if the recruitment world or the home world where the chapter's Fortress Monastery would be a savage Monster Hunter type world. That's sort of the thematic idea. In terms of function and integration with the setting, Firekeepers are an Ultima founding chapter, so post Primaris, which I felt was the most conducive for a Salamanders-based successor chapter. It's certainly the least toe-stepping with regards to lore purists. At least I recall that being the case. So then the Firekeepers would have basically been forged upon the anvil of war, so to speak, in the early years of the Indomitus Crusade, right? As part of the... What were they called? The Unnumbered Sons. I think that's the name GW gave the Ultima founding chapters that weren't given a chapter at first. They fought together in the colors of their parent chapters, Legion style. And then after, when the Unnumbered Sons were broken up and divided into chapters, that's when I think the Firekeepers returned back to their homeworld, where they set up their fortress monastery and get playing the game. Okay, here's what I want to do. I want to start painting in those metal nodules on the Volkite. So I think that's where the money is. Oh god. Francois says, man, the only head I could find that looks like he might be crying is either too angry or too old and beardy. Mentors don't live long enough to grow beards. Or get bonding stouts. Don't want to cheat you, Alfarius. I had to switch from the easy-to-build Assault Intercessor to an Intercessor Sergeant. Very interesting. Seems like your little competition is going swimmingly. Darwinning, welcome. Good to see ya. I'm just painting a Volkite. A Volkite pistol, a Neo Volkite pistol, if you are particular. It all does the same thing. Well, look, we're going to have to clean up that blue. Yeah, this brush sort of has lost its point for this sort of work. I'm basically just painting with the guiding hair, basically. It's not ideal. Oh god. Quite messy. Quite messy. just gonna catch up on with chat. Darwinning says, got my Iron Wars primed and their lead belter. Hey, you ready to go? You're basically done if you've primed your Iron Warriors in a metal color. Indeed, long-awaited progress. Also got my car sticker for the Iron Warriors as well. Nice. Link Dancer, welcome. Hate to be random, but I don't know how to feel delivering Chick-fil-A order to a chicken farm. Nice. Anyways, aside from that, how's the command squad going? They're coming along bit by bit. They're certainly not as offensive as they were 2 weeks ago. So they all got base colors down. The chapter champion is pretty much just ready for basing. Maybe a little bit of edge highlighting on a few parts, because I only did a partial edge highlighting, but he came together pretty nice. And the rest of them are shaping up. They are shaping up. There's so many accessories I added to, especially the Victrix. Definitely gumming up the works, but it is what it is. Mr. 40K, do I play Horus Heresy? No, I do not. Though I feel that is where my heart belongs. Sadly, I feel those are my sensibilities. But I like 40K's alien varieties, right? And I like that in 40K, you can have a successor chapter, right? If you play Horus Heresy, you have to play the Legion, but I mean, I guess you can still paint, alter it slightly and say this is your wing or whatever, your company or however they divide themselves. This is the portion of the Legion which you command, right? I guess you could do that, but I like having the creative landscape of 40K's successor chapter, for Space Marines anyways. It's cool. It's like you can't win either way. I never had Chick-fil-A. I just know it's popular. Alferis asks where were the Eldar during the Horus Heresy? The tower still cave in. The Eldar were watching. Watching and doing nothing. For the most part. There are plot beats. The Horus Heresy as a series is just too vast for me to keep track of, honestly. So correct me if I'm claiming things that are false, but there are plot beats where you get to see, Eldar characters, including Eldrad, talk about what's going on, the significance of the Horus Heresy and what's happening. But they don't do too much, which is too bad, because I think it makes them look feckless. If my understanding is correct, and they don't do much. Darwinning says that's fair. I mean, I play Alpha Legion, so I paint them all crazy colors. Okay, so we have this guy next, and his Volkite, and all of its nodules. You know what? We'll probably do the eyes on at least at least the guy in the thumbnail. And then wrap up the stream. Let me catch up on chat here. Francois says if you show up with a second edition codex, I'll play your Xeno versus my Horus Heresy First Legion. Indeed, Bravo learning Eldar will be to be more space racist. Important plot there. Francois, yes, it is very lame you can't kit out the command squad the way you want. Oh, dude, it's ultra lame. Ultra lame. Yeah. And it encourages less creative stretches. Like, oh, I can't have a jump pack chapter master with a jump pack command squad, so now I have to, maybe resort to Sanguinary Guard and Dante and just kit bash off of them or model counts as to them. It's all unideal, right? And then your guy, you have to live with your chapter master having the rule like I am also regent of Imperium Nihilus. It's just not the most tasteful. Next, we're gonna mix some Uriel yellow. No, Flash gets yellow, the most potent yellow. With some off-white, just to get a bright, pale yellow base for our islands. Then we'll drop in some yellow ink, and I think it'll be good. Okay, this brush is getting too fat for this kind of work now. I'll do one more coat. Trying to get something like slightly even. A little bit of overspill over the eye lenses, and it'll be fine. I think it'll enhance the effect. Okay, let's try a bit of the yellow ink. It's almost an orange, really. Kind of scared to put too much on. Sometimes you gotta be brave, you know? Country Cow, welcome to the stream. I just saw the message. You know, sometimes I get too dialed in on painting and I forget about you guys in chat. My humblest apologies. I'm gonna put some Seraphim Sepia on these gold lockets and stuff. Well said, Alfarius. We are chillin'. Now, I would have called these videos or these streams hobby and chill, but can't do that anymore. You're gonna whoop Alfarius in a painting challenge, Ace Francois. I like the competitive spirit. Okay, maybe I'll extend the stream a little bit, just because I'm kind of vibing here with this this guy. I think he's coming together. Let's see if we can get those centers, those island sensors a bit brighter. Gonna take a few coats, and I probably should increase the amount of off-white in the blend each time. Alfarius asks, thoughts on the removal of Seth and the Librarian Dread? It sucks. Are they in Legends now? Or are they just gone completely? Either. Both are lame, but... I mean, it's always a loss when the model you like is no longer... allowed in air quotes by the broader community. I think we gotta all do our part to make Legends more permissible and less stigmatized. If you're at a tournament, I get it, I understand, but for normal local game store play or, you know, someone's garage or whatever, I don't think they should be frowned upon at all. I mean, these are things that we have built with the intention to use, you know? I think too many casual players are guilty of being influenced by the competitive wins, so to speak. I mean, I've certainly been in that camp. I'm not trying to poo-poo anybody. It's weird, the event I'm going to in November it allows Legends. So now you have all these weird options that are wildly unbalanced because, well, these are units that I never got fact or never had points adjustments, right? Really, GW should update Legends units as well, but they're kind of lazy. I think they've longed for justification to not update those kinds of things. Yeah, we got some yellow islands this here. I think that is more than adequate. Not sure what comes across on the stream, but looks good in person, I'll tell you that. Francois says legends are always welcome in my Apocalypse games. Right on. Darwining says at with the 40k. I think the way to get legends in is if GW is doing a half edition update to legends and adjust them, because I think they're the biggest barrier to legends. Because I think the biggest barrier to legends is that they don't get updated. Correct. Yeah. I agree. If there's an annual, at least, an annual points adjustment, they should at least be done then. I don't know. I feel like if passionate fans can put their heads together and determine what appropriate points would be, probably, for units relative to, you know, how points have changed and gone up with comparative units in one's own codex, then it should be pretty easy to do at least once a year. You know what I'm saying? So what company should this guy be from? Probably, let's go with 5. No, 5 is, that'd be black. What's orange? 6? Whatever company is orange, that's where this guy will be from. Got some orange-ish colors. We can just make orange. We have that power. Knew someone who bought Librarian Dread the day before his Winter Legends was announced. Oh. Yeah, not great. It's a shame because the Librarian Dread is a fairly iconic unit for the Blood Angels. You know, the Flying Dreadnought. Seth is, I guess, similar. You know, if you're a Flesh Terrors guy, that's, you know, you're losing, so to speak, you know. No longer tournament legal. You're your main man. Now you'll have to put him on the table and count him as something else. And it just doesn't feel as good. I think as like a general rule of thumb, rules should be updated and handled in such a way that players feel rewarded, not punished. Wild concept. It's so radical. Let's do a orange stripe, kind of like a diagonal. I think that'd be pretty cool. Something like that, but not shitty. Darwining says Cantor never stood a chance. Yeah, I think Pedro Cantor is just like Gabriel Sith in terms of like importance to GW. I think next Codex he is Legends. Unless he gets a new model. Which is not impossible, but it's a dice roll, I'd say. Though I'd sooner want a upsized old One-Eye than another named Chapter Master. Alpharius. You'll make a crimson wish. How poetic. How poetic. Better hope TikTok learns about him. Is that where we're at? Is that what GW listens to? That's where all the real Warhammer 40k fans are. I don't know if you guys are aware. Crimson Fists have good lore, been box art, and have larger love in the community than the Flesh Terrors. All true. And unlike Flesh Terrors, they're more safe for work inclusive than the Flesh Terrors. I guess so. I don't know, both are fairly like Flesh Tearing and Crimson. I guess Crimson Fist. They're both principally like violent chapter names, but Crimson Fist sounds soft, like it's more poetic. It's more, illusory. It's more metaphorical, I guess is the word. Unless you mean because his name is Pedro versus Gabriel. Like, is that the angle, Francois? It's an interesting point. I could see that moving the needle, potentially, but aren't the Crimson Fists... Like Pedro, isn't there like naming conventions rooted out of like Spanish, like Spain Spanish, not South American Hispanic? Isn't that the case for the naming conventions for... I read that somewhere. That could be fake news though. So you guys told me. I mean, we saw the Custodes lore. Oh, we don't talk about the Custodes lore. It makes me sad. God. Really took the wind out of my sails for my Custodes collection. I mean, it's small. It's a small collection. It's not a massive army or anything, but definitely less enthused. They spark less joy. if you know what I mean. Styrodot says the fact that Pedro Cantor and Huron Blackheart still have rules, while others don't, makes me think they're more likely to get new models. That's an interesting point to consider as well. That's an interesting one. God, I can't... Part of me is like, yeah, you know, Huron's a classic model. Of course he should have a new updated sculpt. But then I think about the Legion purists out there that have never had any named characters, and how I look at the Loyalist first founding chapters to the Traitor Legions, like the named character disparity, and I'm like, oh no, it feels bad. I want the timeline where when the Chaos Space Marines got, or when the Space Marines got chapter supplements in 8th edition, I want the timeline where the Chaos Space Marines immediately got Legion supplements afterwards in the same fashion. Just a little named character for you to enjoy, and a little booklet of rules. But if we're going to talk about alternate timelines, there's many things in 40k I'd rather have changed. Okay, that seems like a straight-ish kind of knee pad, right? I think so. Let me just do another layer over top. Uh-oh, didn't mix the right color. Look, these are the risks you run when you mix colors instead of buying paint pots for every color. You just have to accept it. Darwinning says that it was Tzeentch who infiltrated the Custodians and implanted women Custodians, saying they've been there all along. There was even a comic. Well, yeah, it is a very Tzeentchian ploy. Yeah, that wasn't the best handled by the PR team there at GW, or whoever's in charge of their Twitter anyways. I don't know, after the the female Custodians thing got so much pushback, and I honestly thought, like, GW never responded. I honestly thought that they would just kind of pretend it never happened. Just quietly, move away, don't talk about it, people will forget that we tried to say this, right? We won't take it back, because they can't. They would get, attacked by all the purists out there, or fanatics, I guess is a better word. But I'm just surprised they went ahead and did an animation. Really, really caught me off guard, if I'm honest. It's okay though, because I wasn't really planning to get Warhammer Plus anyways, so It's just another reason not to buy into their lame Warhammer Plus. What the 40? Alfarius says, ask what the 40K. Have you seen the animation The Awakening? Honestly, I haven't seen any of the exclusive content on Warhammer Plus. I don't want to pay them, you know. I like the adage of voting with your hobby wallet or whatever, right? The hobby dollar. And so I don't want to support Warhammer Plus for the animations. I think, you know, GW basically scouring YouTube or all the video platforms out there of fan-created content so that they could position theirs as the only source is super gross. So I don't want to support Warhammer Plus, basically, is what it is. Regardless of how cool the animations may be, I'm sure there's some fun stuff in there, probably, you know. Oh, Alfarius. Well, disregard my rant, I guess. So hold on. So it's fan-created content? Is that allowed now? Or are these guys, you know, bravely making fan content? Ooh, look at the time. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up after this one last process, guys. We're gonna do a quick wash over our very clean, very pure purity seals. Colia Green Shade, probably mixed down with some Lamian Medium. just to add a little bit of that tonal variety, and while keeping it cool. I like that cool undertone on my whites and off-whites. This is contrast medium. This is not what I want. I'm gonna step away for. It shouldn't be too long. So I gotta go grab the Lamian. Oh, it's here. It's here. False alarm. It appears as if I'm all out of bottle caps. Oh, I got an old one here. Alferi says not entirely sure, but they've gotten away with it so far. Oh, regarding the fan animation, right. It's about some dark angels going to nuke a tomb world before they all wake up from the big nap. Ah, that's a fun little premise. A good old vertical slice, you know. Francois says GW used extortionist threats to get fan animators under contract. After being successful, they said people are not under contract and can make fan animations again due to backlash. Oh, well, you know what? Thank you for the insight there, Francois. I still think it's super gross behavior, and I will not be subscribing to the Warhammer Plus. It's like, oh, we need to get some talent for our studio. Let's just force people. It's crazy. Crazy for this hobby. That's so fan generated, right? It's not like you're making a show or you're making a story only. You're making models for which people to paint and be creative with. Very odd. Okay, I don't think I missed any purity seals. I think we are good on that front. Cool. Alrighty then, guys. This was a rather fun and productive hobby session, I think. Nothing too crazy. But look, we're making steady progress towards the command squad. Our two Victrix guys are looking like this. And we'll get his little arm here. We'll get his arm on. And our two company veterans in the command squad Company Heroes, well, I'm calling it a command squad. I don't care anymore. We all know what it's supposed to be. Yeah, they're shaping up. He needs a bit more yellows on his greens. I gotta push those greens up next time. Alright, guys. Thanks to everyone who tuned in for the hobby session. Thanks to everyone who chatted and shared in the hobby camaraderie. And thanks to everyone who liked the stream. Tomorrow, I may do it'd be a shorter stream, honestly, on Wednesdays. It's tough to say. It's tough to say for Wednesdays. Maybe an impromptu, shorter hobby stream. Joe K, I see your message in chat. Thanks for the kind words. And with that, I'm going to bid you guys adieu. And I'll catch you in the next